Hello again and welcome to our update, this time covering figures for the month of February 2013. Before starting to look at the data, it's worth making a few observations about year-on-year comparisons. Now, February 2012 was a leap month, whereas February 2013 clearly wasn't. And that extra day in February 2012 effectively boosted inbound tourism to the tune of about 3%. However, February 2012 also saw quite significant weather disruption, including at London Heathrow Airport, whereas the February just past saw very little in the way of weather disruption. So what do the figures tell us then for the February just gone? Well, we saw virtually 2 million inbound visits, and that's an impressive 14% increase on a year ago. For the very first time in the month of February, those visitors spent more than £1 billion while they were here in Britain. That represents a 9% increase before we take inflation into account. And now, unusually, whether we're looking at holidays, trips for business or trips for friends to visit friends and relatives, we saw a double-digit percentage increase right across the board. So in summary, a very strong month. However, it is worth noting that February is a comparatively quiet time of the year for inbound tourism. By way of example, we earn more than twice as much from inbound tourism during August than we do in a typical February. Now, last month we took a look at visitors who travel to Britain by Eurostar, and this time we're turning our attention to those who travel by ferry. In 2011, there were roughly 4.5 million visits from overseas by ferry, roughly 15% of the overall inbound market, and while they were here, those visitors spent £1.6 billion, just shy of 1/10 of all visitor spending. The typical ferry visit lasted for around about 6 nights, and spending was at about £55 per night. If we look then at the average spend per visit for those travelling by ferry, it's about £352. That's somewhat lower than the average when we're taking all modes of travel together, which in 2011 was £584. No big surprises if we look at where ferry visitors tend to come from. Nearby markets such as France and Ireland, certainly at the top of the table, but notice the appearance of both the US and Australia in the top 10, suggesting that many long-haul visitors combine a trip to Britain with visiting other parts of Western Europe. If we take a look at the journey purpose of those travelling to Britain by ferry, as well as seasonality, we can see that those coming to see friends and relatives or on business have very little in the way of seasonality across the year. However, those on holiday, that's the red bars on the chart, there are 4 times as many holiday visitors travelling by ferry in the summer months than there are in either the first or the final quarter of the year. Clearly, it's possible to bring a vehicle on board a ferry with you, and the figures for 2011 show that around about 13% were in fact just foot passengers, just less than half were travelling with a private vehicle, roundly a quarter were travelling as part of a coach group, and the final 1/5, well, they were in fact truck drivers, either bringing goods to Britain or taking goods from Britain. Next month we will have provisional figures for the month of March, and we'll also get our first look at detailed country level visits for 2012. So until then, bye-bye.